Hello, guys. I hope you're having a good day. We're going to start lesson 6 of the classification of animals. Today, we're talking about reptiles, cold-blooded, scaly vertebrates. So, if you remember, we've been talking about this mnemonic device. All my best friends represent vertebrates. That reminds us what the different groups of animals that are vertebrates are. So the A in all stands for amphibians. The M in my stands for mammals. The B in best stands for birds. The F in friend stands for fish. The R in represent stands for reptiles. And the V in vertebrates stands for vertebrates. It's a way to help us remember. And remember, it's called a mnemonic device. What is it that's unique about amphibians? What makes them different than the other groups of animals? Well, we learned last time that amphibians are born, their eggs are laid, and they're born in water, right? And at first they have gills and they breathe oxygen through water. But then as they grow up and develop, they grow lungs and then they live most of their life on land. It's pretty unique. Okay, so last time we also talked about salamanders and how salamanders are amphibians and that people get salamanders confused with lizards. So can you tell which of these is a salamander and which is a lizard? And how are they similar and how are they different? Well, just looking at them, you can kind of tell that a salamander, which you see on the left, is its skin is moist and kind of slippery, right? And then the lizard on the right, its skin is more drier and scaly. It's not slippery. Okay, so salamanders are amphibians. Their skin has to stay moist and they breathe through lungs, but also breathe through their skin as well. Then lizards are reptiles, right? They don't live in water. They might be able to go in the water, but their eggs are not born in the water. And we'll talk more about that. But you can just look and observe from the pictures the different similarities and differences of these two animals. All right, so we're going to begin our read aloud. Hello, boys and girls. As you can see, Anna Anaconda is our starting place for today's lesson. She is a green anaconda, one of the largest snakes in the world. When she unwinds, she is about as long as 6 of you stretched head to toe across the room, and she weighs about 500 pounds. That's more than about 8 of you put together. Anna Anaconda belongs to a group of animals that share a lot of the same characteristics as the amphibians you learned about last time. Who knows the name of the group used by taxonomists to classify snakes? Yes, snakes are reptiles. Reptiles include crocodiles, alligators, lizards, turtles, and tortoises. But right now I want to focus on one reptile only, Anna. It's no secret that she has a very high opinion of herself. She was quite fond of telling me so when I visited Peru. She thinks she is rather pretty, and I quite agree. In spite of her heavy body, Anna is a very good swimmer. Unlike some of her reptilian relatives, she is an aquatic snake, preferring swamps and rivers to the land. Snakes often have a bad reputation. Some snakes are poisonous, releasing poisonous liquid called venom when they bite. Anna's teeth are actually quite small and she is not venomous, so you need not worry about that. However, some people fear anacondas because they are members of a family of snakes called constrictors. Does anyone know what that means? Constrictors catch and kill their prey by coiling or wrapping around the prey and squeezing them very tightly. Anacondas' jaws open so wide that they can swallow animals whole. Fish, caiman, even jaguars, and small deer. The anaconda's powerful muscles crush the bones of its prey as it constricts. Once swallowed, the anaconda slowly digests its meal. Some of you look fearful. Don't worry, you're safe. Anacondas don't live where you live in North America. You'll find them far, far away on the continent of South America. That's where I met Anna. Anna was sure to tell me that as far as she knows, there's no documented record of an anaconda ever killing a man, woman, or child. She and all anacondas are nocturnal animals, and they hunt at night, eating frogs, toads, birds, fish, and turtles. She doesn't have to hunt very often because one animal will satisfy her appetite for a very long time. Well, that's a lot of information about Anna's characteristics, the way by which scientists classify her as belonging to the animal class called reptiles or reptilia. Anna and other reptiles share some common characteristics with amphibians. Many scientists believe reptiles evolved from amphibians. Reptiles are all vertebrates because they all have backbones, and they are all cold-blooded because their internal temperatures change with their surroundings. Most reptiles can adjust their body temperatures by basking in the sun to stay warm or by hiding under a rock to stay cool. The word reptilia is actually Latin for reptiles, just as animalia is Latin for animals. Now you know some Latin. Just like amphibians, reptiles live on land and in water. However, these two groups do, of course, have their differences. Amphibians depend upon water to stay alive, much more so than reptiles. Amphibians' thin, wet, slimy skin needs moisture to absorb oxygen from the air, but reptile skin is waterproof. Unlike toads and salamanders, Anna and other reptiles do not breathe through their skin, which is hard, dry, and scaly. They use only their lungs to breathe air, which means they are able to withstand very harsh, dry weather, conditions under which amphibians would not be able to survive. Of course, because they have lungs, this also means that reptiles cannot stay underwater very long without coming to the surface to breathe. Amphibians usually spend part of their lives entirely in water, but this is not true of reptiles as a group. Whereas amphibians begin life with gills, reptiles are born with lungs and are never dependent upon gills for breathing. Remember how different baby tadpoles look from adult toads? This is not the case for reptiles. Baby reptiles usually look a lot like their parents. They do not undergo metamorphosis the way that amphibians do. In the last read aloud, we talked about the way certain animals like tadpoles morph as they grow older. Let's all say the word metamorphosis together. Say metamorphosis. Remember that it has the syllable morph in it, right? Which tells us what metamorphosis means. It means that the animal changes. Let's take a look at some of the animals that belong to the animal group classified as reptiles. These include lizards, geckos, iguanas, and chameleons. Unlike snakes, most lizards have 4 legs. Chameleons have a keen sense of sight and very long tongues. Their bright colors, all shades of pink, blue, red, orange, and turquoise and green, help them camouflage when they come face to face with their enemies. What does the word camouflage mean? Camouflage means that they blend in with their surroundings. Earth's largest living lizard is the Komodo dragon. It can grow to be 10 feet long and may weigh as much as 150 pounds. These giant island carnivores eat animals as large as goats, pigs, and deer. Saltwater crocodiles are the largest reptiles on Earth. Some weigh up to 1 ton. That's 2,000 pounds. The weight of the average mid-sized car is about 2 tons. Looking like very large lizards, crocodiles make their homes in tropical climates and are often seen floating like logs in the water with only their nostrils, eyes, and ears showing. Like Anna, they are nocturnal hunters, hunting at night. Crocodiles have the most powerful bite in the entire animal kingdom and are fierce hunters, living off fish and small animals. Some live to be more than 100 years old. Wow. Alligators resemble crocodiles, but they are usually less aggressive or boldly forceful and live in freshwater habitats. Can you tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? Look at these pictures. Alligators usually have a wide, rounded, U-shaped snout, and crocodiles tend to have longer, more pointed V-shaped noses. So does that tell you which is which? Right? So the one on the left is an alligator and the one on the right is a crocodile. We can see that they do look slightly different. I believe crocodiles are usually bigger too and have their teeth sticking out on the outside. Look at all these reptiles side by side: chameleons, Komodo dragons, crocodiles, and alligators. What do you notice about their skin? Is it rough or smooth? Does it look thin or thick? Remember when I mentioned that reptile skin is waterproof and that it's hard, thick, and scaly? Their type of scaly skin protects them from overheating, and because their skin is waterproof, it keeps water inside their bodies. Because reptiles' skin is very sensitive too, or easily affected by temperature, it becomes hot or cold very quickly when exposed to sun or shade. Like many amphibians, some reptiles shed their skin. Many lizards and snakes shed their skin several times a year as they grow. Snakes do not eat their shed skin the way amphibians do. So I guess snakes are not as gross like amphibians are, eating their skin. Ooh, look at these turtles and tortoises. Turtles and tortoises are the only reptiles with bony shells as part of their skeletons. Their backbones are actually fused to their shells. These shells may be flat or domed. Turtles have softer shells so that they can swim faster, but land-dwelling tortoises need hard, leathery shells to protect them from predators. Their legs vary in appearance depending upon where they live as well. Sea turtles have oar-shaped flippers for moving through water effectively. Many turtles have claws which help them dig, and pond turtles also have webs between their claws to effectively maneuver or move through water. What other animals have you heard about that have a body designed for swimming? Right? Fish with their fins are designed to swim. Land tortoises, like the giant Galapagos, have huge column-shaped legs with claws. These claws help them dig into the ground to move across it. Some turtle species live for more than a century. A century is 100 years. That's a very long time indeed. Body coverings are a very important difference between amphibians and reptiles. Another thing that sets the two groups apart is their eggs. Remember the slide that showed strands of thousands of soft eggs that the Tabitha toad laid in the pond? Most reptiles lay far fewer eggs, and they lay their eggs in nests on land. Membranes, soft outer coverings that provide protection and also help to hold in necessary water for eggs to grow, usually coat the inside of reptilian eggs. In most reptile species, the eggs are also covered in leathery, calcified shells. A few snakes and lizards give birth to fully formed live young instead of laying eggs. The garter snake, A snake that is right here in North America is one of these exceptions to the rule. So is this Solomon Island skink, a lizard whose habitat is near the continent of Australia. So there's two of our breakers you should remember for our chart later. The Solomon Island skink and the garter snake. Like amphibians, reptiles live all over the world. They prefer hot, low areas like rainforests, prairies, deserts, and oceans, but they can be found everywhere except near the cold South Pole. You may have learned about many different ologists in previous years. You have geologists, paleontologists, and archaeologists. Knowing that ology means an area of study and herpeton means crawling animals, who can tell me what a herpetologist is? If you are as fascinated as I am with reptiles and amphibians, you may want to think about being an herpetologist. Yes, indeed, herpetologist is the name given to a scientist who specializes in herpetology, the study of certain crawling animals, specifically reptiles and amphibians. With more than 5,600 species of lizards alone, that should keep you busy for a lifetime. You have seen and learned a lot about fish, amphibians, and reptiles, but there are still two major groups of vertebrates for you to learn more about. Who remembers what they are? What do we have left to learn about? Yes, birds and mammals. Next time I will be back to tell you all about Ebenezer egret. Get ready to feast your eyes on the stunning variety of Ebenezer's feathered friends. Bye for now. So what are the characteristics of a lizard that classify it as a reptile? Why is a lizard a reptile? Their young are born looking like parents, have hard, thick, scaled skin, lay eggs in a nest on land, and they breathe through lungs. How is this different from the salamander, which is an amphibian? Well, salamanders are born as tadpoles, are amphibians that first breathe through gills and then later through lungs and skin, have moist, slimy skin, and lay eggs in water. What kind of a reptile is Anna? Anna is an anaconda, which is a constrictor. What did Rattenborough mean when he told us that anacondas are not venomous? They are not poisonous. They do not have any venom. Instead, they kill their prey by squeezing them. In the read aloud today, you learned that reptiles have hard, scaly skin. How is this waterproof, scaly skin helpful to reptiles? It keeps water in, keeps them from overheating, and protects them. You also learned that reptile skin is sensitive. Explain what sensitive means and why it's especially important for a cold-blooded animal to have scaly, sensitive skin. Sensitive means able to feel something quickly or intensely. It is important because reptiles who are cold-blooded depend on their skin for regulating body temperature. Which two classes are the only ones in the entire group of known reptiles who have calcified domed shells? What kind of reptiles have shells? Turtles and tortoises. The part of a pond turtle's body that helps it move through the water effectively is the webbing between its claws. Now compare and contrast the body design of a pond turtle to that of a fish. So a pond turtle is helped by its webbing in its claws, whereas a fish swims around with its fins. In the read aloud, you heard that reptiles lay eggs and nest on land. Why is the membrane in the egg important? It provides protection and holds in necessary water. So let's compare and contrast a crocodile and an alligator. We know they are both reptiles. They both have hard, scaly skin. Alligators prefer freshwater and they have a wide, rounded U-shaped snout. Crocodiles prefer saltwater and tend to have longer, more pointed V-shaped noses. What is one well-known fact that supports the claim that the crocodile is more aggressive? Well, we know the crocodile has the most powerful bite of all the animals in the animal kingdom. So, since it has such a powerful bite, it probably uses it. What major characteristics represent animals in the group called reptiles? They're cold blooded vertebrates, covered in scales or bony plates. They usually lay eggs and they have lungs. Do you think you might like to be a herbologist someday? Herpetologist, sorry. A herpetologist someday. Why or why not? All right, think what is one characteristic of reptiles? Answer on this ed puzzle. What is one characteristic of reptiles? Please answer in a complete sentence. Our word of the day is effectively. In the read aloud you heard, sea turtles have oar-shaped flippers for moving through water effectively. Say the word effectively with me. Effectively. When something is accomplished effectively, it means that it is well done with purpose and success. There was no way for the principal to effectively get his message to the entire school while the public address system was broken. Think of a time when either you did something effectively or you observed something being done effectively. Be sure to use the word effectively when you tell about it. So if somebody's doing something effectively, it is well done. All right, good job, third graders. I hope you enjoyed learning about reptiles. We will fill out our classification chart together during our afternoon wrap-up.